please welcome a comedian that's going to make your gut ache, Ron White. Let's hear it for him.
All right, Dan. Yesterday, I was sitting in a beanbag chair naked eating Cheetos. And I was flipping through the television there, and I saw Robert Tilton. He's a televangelist from Dallas, and he was staring at me. And he said, "Are you lonely?" Yeah. He said, "Have you wasted half your life in bars pursuing sins of the flesh?" This guy's good. He said, "Are you sitting in a beanbag chair naked eating Cheetos?" Yes, sir. He said, "Do you feel the urge to get up and send me $1,000? Close. Thought he was talking about me there for a second. Yeah, apparently I ain't the only cat on the block digs Cheetos. Thanks. I just learned something interesting today at the swimming pool. They have bikinis now made out of seashells. I didn't know that, and I also didn't know this. If you're ever walking by the pool and see a girl dressed in a bikini made out of seashells, and you pick her up and hold her to your ear, you can hear her scream. Who'd have thunk it? I thought I'd hear the ocean, but not over that woman. Hush, ma'am. She was a wiggler. I almost died getting here. This is, actually I didn't almost die, I didn't even get hurt. I flew here from Laughlin in a plane this big. It was like a pack of gum with 8 people in it, just. And what happened was we took off from the Laughlin Airport Hair Care and Tire Center. Traveling at half the speed of smell. And we have to go back. We had engine trouble. We lost some oil pressure in one of the engines, and they told us about it over the speaker system of the little plane, which was stupid because they could have just went, "Hey, we lost some oil pressure." Hey, you ain't gonna believe what just happened up here. We have lost some oil pressure. Heard ya. Everybody on the plane was nervous, you know, but the guy sitting next to me was losing it. You know what I mean? He was like, hey man, if one of these engines fails, how far will the other one take us? Like, all the way to the scene of the crash. Which is pretty handy because that's where we're headed. I bet we beat the paramedics there by a half hour. We are moving. So I've been in Vegas for 4 days. I'll give you some idea how my luck's going. Last night I put 50 cents in a Coke machine. Nothing came out. I didn't even get pissed. I just moved to the next machine. I put 50 cents in that machine, a drink came out, I thought I'd won something. I played that machine till dawn. Won 4.5 cases of Diet 7-Up. So if you're looking for one, they're in my room. Some guys last night asked me if I wanted to go to the Crazy Horse, and I didn't want to go. I just ended up going because you guys backed me up on this. You've seen one woman naked, you want to see the rest of them naked. It could be an old biker chick, you know, they're going to hang down to here. You want to see me naked? Yeah, I do. All right, that's enough. Roll them back up. Things that make you go. I ended up getting back to the hotel here at 7:30 this morning, and I went up to the desk to leave a wake-up call for 7 o'clock. And the lady goes, "Mr. White, it's past 7. No, the next one. You got another one coming around, don't you? Why don't you just put me on that one, huh? Here they're running 2 a day through Nevada." And it turns out I was right. I was just guessing. Nevada. It's good to be back in Nevada, where the speed limit on the interstate is 70 miles an hour. Unless you're in an 18-wheeler, and then it's 65 miles an hour. Unless it's at night, then it's 55 miles an hour. Unless you're in a car pulling a big trailer, and then it's 50 miles an hour. And they do this, of course, because having everybody drive the same speed on the same road just doesn't make sense. I'm surprised they make them drive the same direction. How about you? Why have any rules at all? First time I ever worked Las Vegas, somebody broke into my truck and stole my radio. I got to drive back to Texas, listen to the sound of wind for 71 hours. I got home, I went to the insurance company, and I was filling out these forms, and I got to the part on the form where it says, "What kind of radio was it?" And I told the guy I didn't remember, and he said, "Mr. White, if you can remember what kind of radio it was, we'll know how much money to give you." That's some good news right there. I thought of a real expensive sounding brand, and I wrote it down, and he knew I was lying. "Mr. White, I don't believe Rolex makes a radio. It was a clock radio. Write the check, premium boy." They love it when you call him premium boy. Next time you see your agent, call him premium boy. He'll get a chuckle. They took me tubing when I was here that summer. They took me tubing down the Colorado River. I was baffled by this. I'd never done it before. 21 of us from this hotel met to go tube this river. We had 6 ice chests full of beer with the tubes wrapped around them. You know what I'm talking about? We floated down that river drinking beer for 6.5 hours. Not one person had to pee. Is that normal? Because I'd like to think my friends wouldn't pee on themselves. I know I would. That was the best thing about tubing the river. You could just paddle up to somebody you don't even know. Talk to them while you're peeing on yourself. That's relaxed right there. If you're floating down a river drinking a beer, peeing on yourself, there's no tension there, is there? I guess we'd been floating down that river for like an hour before I realized to myself, well, everybody's just peeing on themselves. And I thought, hell, I'll just pee on myself. Everybody got mad at me. Of course, I was in a canoe. Standing up, too. I said, hey. Not everybody got mad. A couple people viewed it as a photo opportunity. And I know that because I got their Christmas card that year, and I don't remember it being that cold that day. Oh, that's just funny. I tour with Jeff all the time. He's my buddy. And we did Miami last year when Hurricane George hit the Keys. It's funny. They evacuated the Keys, and everybody left except for this one guy, and he's going to stay there and tie himself to a tree on the beach to prove a point. The point was that at 53 years of age, he was in good enough physical condition to withstand the wind and the rain from a Force 2 hurricane. Let me explain something to you. It isn't that the wind is blowing. It's what the wind is blowing. If you get hit with a Volvo, it doesn't really matter how many sit-ups you did that morning. If you have a yield sign in your spleen, nobody cares if you jog. So I'm from Texas. Thank you very much. Texas is a great place. In Texas, we have the death penalty, and we use it. If you come to Texas and kill somebody, we will kill you back. I read in the paper the other day they're trying to pass a bill through the Texas legislature that'll speed up the process of execution in very heinous crimes where there's more than 3 witnesses or the guy just admits he did it straight to the front of the line. Other states are trying to abolish the death penalty, and Texas is putting in an express lane. I thought this was kind of funny. There's an old obscure law in Texas that states that you cannot shoot. It's against the law to shoot somebody in the back. No matter what they did to you or your family or your place of business, it is illegal to shoot them in the back. But apparently, you can start shooting them in the leg till they turn around and then just unload your weapon, you know. Born and raised in Texas, cowboy, real cowboy. I was a bronc rider for 6 years of my life, and it's affected me. Now when I have sex, my arm goes like this. Seems to be some dispute between the wife and I whether or not I'm staying on that full 8 seconds. So we got the timer and buzzer and set it up right there in the bedroom, and I taught her the meaning of the phrase most of the time. Would have been all the time, but she won't let me tie that rope around her waist anymore. She hates it when I spur her out of the chutes. Hey, you laugh. It's not easy to stay excited with a clown in a barrel in the corner of the room. Is it, sir? I am a married man, got a beautiful son. My son's name is Marshall. I named him after an amplifier. Almost named him Peavy. Come here, blah punk, you little woofer. My son is 5 years old. My son thinks 5 years old is a very cool age to be because that's the coolest age he's gotten to. And his favorite thing about being 5 years old is he's old enough to wear a seatbelt. That's his biggest visible step towards manhood so far in his eyes. He's strapped in the truck just like his daddy, and he thinks that is great. And I think it's great too, because I drive a 4-wheel drive truck, and I learned this about 4-wheel drive trucks. It doesn't really matter how big the motor is or how big the tires are. Your macho days are over when you strap a car seat in front of that bad boy. You just can't show it off to your buddies, you know what I mean? You can't make yourself go, oh yeah, it's got the Vortec V8 running 285 horsepower. Yeah. That's a Manitowoc power winch. That'll pull 28 tons right out of a ditch. Yeah. That's a play school car seat. With the Big Bird steering wheel attachment right there on it. That's Bert on the blinker, Ernie on the windshield wiper. That's Big Bird in the middle. You can honk him if you want to. Well, in 2 weeks, I'll have the Cookie Monster flip mirror. They back-ordered it on me. They tried to give me the 98 flip mirror. Just flip forward. I want the best from my boy. So I married a rich woman, if you ever have a choice. Why not? Actually, that's a lie. She's not rich at all. Her parents are loaded. And they hate my guts. And I'm waiting for them to die. And you'll know if they die too, because you'll never see my fat ass again. I'll be in Palm Springs with my new friends. Hand me a beer, Teddy. Servants, rich. My in-laws have servants. Is that weird? I thought when I married their daughter, they'd send a servant along with us to, you know, help do all the crap they never taught her how to do. And I was wrong. We're now leaning on her domestic skills, and she's handy. I came home from doing a show the other night. She goes, "Honey, the dryer's broken." I'm like, "Did you check the lint filter, sweetheart?" "Sit down, honey, I'll check it." I open it up. She goes, "Is there anything in there?" "There's a quilt in there." "Look, you made a sofa cushion." You are a handy girly-whirly. Everything's an emergency to my wife because she never had to deal with her own problems. Spoiled, catered to her whole life. There's no cure for that. You know what I mean? I was in Atlanta one time. She calls me one night, misses me in the hotel room. They catch me in the lobby, and I'm running late, and they tell me I have an emergency phone call from home. I knock over 10 people in the lobby of a very nice hotel, thinking maybe my in-laws. I call her, she tells me my dog Sluggo just took a dump on the new carpet. Shoot him. She goes, "That's just like you, Ron. I have a genuine problem, and you're being sarcastic." "All right, honey, I'm sorry. Put the dog on the phone, I'll talk to her." "What do you want me to do? I'm in Georgia. I can't pick up the turd." "Put a paper towel over it. I'll be home in a week, honey." Hey, thanks a lot. You got a lot of fun, man. Thank you. Fun. Bless your heart. Yeah. So anyway, it's always a blast to come back. This is a neat thing. Whenever I come to Vegas, and I know you guys pay the money, the big money, to see me in concert, and every year I bring a closer with me, and a lot of your big stars have opening acts, and I've reached the point in my career where I can now hire a closer, so I don't have to do all the time. The young man that I've chosen this year has been on television 2 or 3 times. He's been on AM Omaha, Good Morning Des Moines, and Good Afternoon Des Moines. If I were to list this gentleman's credits, the list would be longer than I am tall, Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeff Foxworthy. Thank you very much. Thank you. How about one more hand for Ron White? Come take a bow, Ron. Ron White. Funny man. So how is everybody? I'm in a pretty good mood myself. My wife has just won $1,500 on the instant teller machine out in the lobby, so she's not going to be coming back to Las Vegas anytime soon. Las Vegas at Christmas time really puts you in that holiday mood too, doesn't it? Nothing kind of brings out the true spirit of Christmas more than watching old women in electric wheelchairs play 3 slot machines at one time. And that's what Christmas is all about right there. I love coming out here rodeo week. I come rodeo week every year. I'm kind of addicted to it now. I'm ordering those Bull Nanza tapes off of TNN on Sunday nights. I like rodeo. I figure anybody that climb on the back of a 3,000-pound snot-slinging animal to win a belt buckle might be a redneck. So, and I love the crowd that comes for rodeo week. I got to share this story with you. This couple yesterday, they stopped me in the lobby, and the guy says to me, he said, I know you've probably heard every redneck thing that's ever been told. And in my mind, I was thinking, well, maybe, but I like talking to people. He said, but we swore if we ever ran into you, we were going to share this story with you. He said, last Thanksgiving, when we went to my wife's family's house, her brother got his nipple bitten off by a beaver. And I said, you have my attention. That's not one of those stories you can walk away from at that point. You're almost required to say, how did that happen? And so I said that, and the guy told me, he said, well, apparently he was driving down the road and a beaver ran out in front of the car, and he and his buddy hit it with the car. And in the conversation that followed, they decided that they needed to get this thing and take it to the taxidermist because they didn't know anybody that had a stuffed beaver in their house. So the guy climbed down in the ditch, and she said he picked the beaver up by the tail, and he told his buddy, he goes, look at him, he ain't even cut up or bloody or nothing. And apparently nothing is the word that brings beavers back to consciousness. And at that point, the animal lurched onto his chest. I told them, I said, that's probably the only time in history that the headline of the paper could include the words beaver and nipple and nobody would be offended by it. So when you think you've heard everything, you haven't. Oh, I want to thank the folks here at the Hilton. They have put me up in the fanciest hotel room I've ever been in. In my bathroom, next to the toilet, there is a telephone with 2 lines. You don't need to talk to anybody that bad. I mean, if you really think about it, it's kind of an insult. It's like, hey, George, yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about you and doing a little paperwork, thought I'd give you a call. Hold on, I got somebody on the other line. Somehow I just cannot imagine women would use the telephone next to the toilet like that. You notice I say women, not men. Men do. Ever since the cordless phone was invented. Some nights I can be talking to my brother on the phone. 15 minutes into the conversation, you hear, was that a flush? You've been on the toilet the whole time? We've been talking about Mom, man. But my family, we're not the most sophisticated bunch on this planet. And that's always kind of been my definition of redneck. You know, when I do interviews and people say, what do you mean when you say somebody might be a redneck? My definition of redneck, it is a glorious absence of sophistication. That's all it is. And it can be full-time or part-time, but most of us here tonight are guilty of that at some point in our lives.
And it doesn't matter where you live in this country, it doesn't matter how much money you got, anybody can be a redneck. Because Elvis had a lot of money. I think anybody's ever taken a tour of Graceland has reached the jungle room and had the thought, woo, you can't give rednecks cash. Oh, we love the songs, E, but you should have left the carpet on the floor, buddy. But if you accept that definition, a glorious absence of sophistication. A while back, I read an article in the New Yorker magazine, and the woman that had written it was complaining, saying that our country suffered from a shortage of sophisticated people. And I took that to mean that our country had an abundance of people like me and my family and friends. So I really started thinking about the differences between sophisticated people and rednecks, and let me tell you, y'all, there's a bunch of them. Like, sophisticated people will invest their money in stock portfolios, whereas rednecks invest our money in commemorative plates. Yeah, that's the Legends of NASCAR series right there. Probably our personal favorite, Richard Petty hugging his mama. I can't hardly look at him without crying. There's Dale Earnhardt. He ain't been in a wreck. It's just a little ketchup left over on his forehead. See, rednecks thinks mutual funds means everybody's having a good time. We got the lottery in Georgia where I'm from, and it's gotten to the point, it's so funny, when it first came out, people played it all the time. Now, people won't play it anymore until it gets up to like $80 or $90 million. This past summer, one day I'm in the convenience store. There's a guy in front of me in line. He's got on painter's pants covered in tar. Got work boots covered in tar. He has tar in his hair. He asked the clerk, he goes, how much the lottery this week? She said, 16 million. He went, oh, hell, just give me a Slurpee. I guess 16 million couldn't make a dent in your Pinto payment there, Rocco, could it? This boy needs some cash here. Sophisticated people go to auctions. Rednecks, we go to yard sales. And the difference is at auctions, the sale price is working its way up. Not at a yard sale. No, at a yard sale, you got enough patience, you can get a house full of furniture for $1.25. I love yard sales too. My wife and I get up early on the weekend so we can beat other people to yard sales. These people are getting rid of junk they don't want out of their garage. We're out there digging through it like we're going to find the Holy Grail. Excuse me, what is this? Oh, those are Tupperware lids that have been warped in the dishwasher. They're 8 for a dime. What are we going to do with warped Tupperware lids? I'll give you a nickel for them. We don't really want them. We just need some stuff for the yard sale we're having next weekend. You know what stuff I found sells the best at yard sales? Shiny stuff. I'm telling you, the older I get, the more I'm convinced rednecks are attracted to shiny objects. We ought to think about it. Beer cans, fishing lures, UFOs. And if you really think about it, most of the people that see UFOs have been using fishing lures and holding beer cans. So actually there's a connection there. We do like shiny stuff. That's why we stop at Hubcap City. That's why bass boats have a glitter finish. Anybody ever seen a yacht with a glitter finish? No, but they put that bass boat out in the sun. Hell, we'll give them our life savings. And what we don't spend on the boat, we will spend on accessories to go in it. Because that's one thing rednecks can do. We can accessorize a vehicle. Be out there on the lake going, see that thing right there, Bobby? It's what they call a depth finder. See, what that does, that sends an electronic pulse to the bottom of the lake to tell you how deep you are at any given point. See, right now, you and I are cruising at 3 feet. Watch this. Here you go. 3, 2, 1. Well, hell, I could have stuck my leg over the side and saved you $700. Well, I know, but sometimes you got to work and I got to fish by myself. See, that way I know how deep it is. Sophisticated people play chess. Rednecks can amuse ourselves for hours with a sheet of bubble wrap. Pop, 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 pop. Oh, for God's sakes, Joe, let the kids play with it a while. You're going to be late to work. Sophisticated people go to restaurants that require reservations. Rednecks, we go to restaurants that require we drive around to the second window. And hey, could you supersize them fries for the little woman? It's our anniversary. See, sophisticated people, they want to hide their money, whereas rednecks, we like to show ours off. That's why we put everything we own out in the front yard. Let the world know how good we're doing. And I have found rednecks that have a lot of money will actually buy stuff just for the yard. Like those ceramic deer statues. Rednecks without money drive by and shoot at them. Yeah, it was tougher than hell, but we ate it. Louise had to marinate that thing over 6 months. Still tasted like concrete. I always felt like you couldn't talk about rednecks unless you are one, and I are one. You know what? Growing up, I didn't even know that's what I was, and looking back, it was pretty obvious. Totally true story, y'all. My entire life, our mailbox in front of our house had the letters M-A-L-E painted on it. Give a couple of you a second or two on that one. M-A-L-E. And by the time I was in the 11th grade, I realized that ain't right. That M's supposed to be capitalized, isn't it? That's a true story. When I was in the 3rd grade, my uncle did that as a joke, and nobody got it. Rednecks didn't even know it. People always ask me, they say, where do you come up with material? You don't come up with material, you just write it down when it happens. Two great ones that happened not long ago. First one, I'm in my office one afternoon and I'm trying to write a little bit, and my oldest daughter comes in there and she's got 2 little Ritz crackers and she's kind of made a sandwich out of them. And she's got a real high voice. She walked in there and she goes, Dad, would you like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I made you one. I said, well, honey, that is so sweet. Thank you. And I took it from her and popped the whole thing in my mouth and ate it. And she's kind of staring at me and she said, did you like it? And I said, oh, yeah, that was really, really good. She said, you want to know how I made it? Maybe. She said, well, I got 2 crackers, and then I got some peanuts, and I chewed them up and spit them on one cracker, and I got some raisins, and I chewed them up and spit them on the other one. You want me to make you another peanut butter and jelly sandwich? No, honey, I am full as a tick, but I bet your mom would like one. Then, not to be outdone, a few weeks after that, my wife and my mother-in-law ordered bathing suits through the mail, you know, one of these mail order things, and the bathing suits arrived and they're trying them on. My mother-in-law walked out in her bathing suit and my youngest daughter looked at her and said, Gamma, you shouldn't draw on your legs with a blue magic marker. Needless to say, I had to mop up the milk I had been drinking because it was on the other side of the room, which is pretty good distance through your nose. I mean, that's a shot right there. That's gonna sting a while. But I love the way kids think, and I'm telling you, the kids are so much smarter now than we ever were, it's not funny. My oldest daughter on her 5th birthday asked for and got a computer. 5 years old, gets a computer and can use it right out of the box. A computer, 5 years old. Remember what we got when we turned 5? The little wooden paddle with the rubber band and the red ball on the end of it? That was a brain builder, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. You play with it about 4 times, the rubber band would snap, the ball would fly across the room, break something, and you get a spanking with the paddle. No wonder we turned out this way. Oh, and nowadays you can't even spank your kids. No, got to give them a time out. And my dad would take time out of his busy day to whip our ass. My dad could touch his belt buckle, we'd dive through a plate glass window. Come on, I was just kidding with you. Get back in the house. It's cold. Come on, it's cold. And you know something else? There's a lot of people here tonight that take pride in being part of the last generation or two that got spankings like that. You bet we got spankings. Every day of our life. And we were thankful to get them too. We'd get up in the morning, we'd get a spanking, we'd walk 40 miles to school in the snow, get another spanking, walk back home, get a spanking, and go to bed, and we were thankful to get that. Christmas time, we didn't get toys. 3 kids shared 1 spanking in a stocking. That's all we got. For the whole year, a spanking, a penny, and an orange. That was it. But there are a ton of things that have changed for kids, just in a generation or two. I was doing a thing for HBO a while back, and they were asking kind of more serious questions. And one of them, they said, what's your earliest recollection in life? And I thought about it, and I said, you know, I remember being, I don't know, 3 years old, and I'm standing on the front seat of the car with my dad, and every time he'd turn the corner, I'd make the sound of tires squealing. You know, and my dad would go, quit squealing my tires. All of a sudden it dawned on me, what was I doing standing on the front seat of the car? See, back in those days, kids weren't too good to go through the windshield with the rest of the family. I can't back out of my driveway without my children being in car seats with shoulder straps and safety fits. Lord, we sent John Glenn into outer space the first time wearing a Jethro Bodine rope belt. Seat belts, we were lucky to be in the seats. I remember one time riding all the way to Florida, lying in the back window of the car. People behind us going, Harold, is that one of those bobbing dogs? No, that's a skinny kid with a big head. That's what that is, yeah. My dad would slam on the brakes. We go bouncing around the car like a pinball game. End up face first in a full ashtray. Because that was back before secondhand smoke, too. Remember that? Wintertime, we got all the windows in the car rolled up. My parents are smoking like it's a contest. Our car looked like the Cheech and Chong mobile. I tell you something else that's changed with kids is their pets. To tell you this little story, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, my daughters have a little white hamster named Herman, and Herman's hair started falling out a lot. And so my wife says to me, honey, it is time we take Herman to the vet. And I said, baby, Herman cost $5. Maybe it's time for Herman to get let loose out in the woods. Born free. And she got upset with me. I said, honey, let me tell you something. When I was a kid, there was no chance I had a $5 pet. It was going to the vet. I said, you know what happened to our pets? They ran away. I remember one time my brother and I brought home this little dog, and that dog barked all night long the first 3 nights we had it. And on the 4th day, he ran away. We had a cat that started clawing my dad's recliner. She ran away. I remember having goldfish that ran away. But my wife was adamant. She said, no, Herman is our pet and he is our responsibility. I am taking him to the vet. And she did. $65 later, Herman's hair is still falling out. Bad. Herman looks like Edgar Winter on Propecia. And I said, honey, $65? We could have got 13 hamsters for $65. I said, when your medical bills are 13 times what you're worth, either you were really, really sick or you were really, really cheap. I said, baby, let's talk about this in other terms. I said, let's say you took your grandmother to the doctor and they told you it was going to take $23 million to make her well. I said, there's a good chance we would be pulling the kids downstairs right now and say, girls, sit down. We've got some bad news. Meemaw has run away. I'm not mean. No, I'm not mean. $23 million bucks, a lot of money. Oh, but I love these kids, man. I love you back. But they are smart, and they had to get their brains from their mama. They did not get it from me. I turned 41 years old a couple of months ago. Boy, I used to think when I was growing up, I thought people that were 40 kind of had a wisdom about them. No, I am dumb as a brick. Man, there's so much I don't know that I thought I'd know by this point in life. I don't even, this is what I don't know. I don't know how they know how long to make the cord for the first bungee jump at a new place. All right, Eddie, let him jump. All right, Eddie, shorten it up a little bit. Hey, and give his girlfriend a free T-shirt. I still don't know who closes the door when the bus driver gets off. Somebody gonna lose a little sleep tonight, aren't you? Who does close the door when the... I still don't know how come cats never throw up in the daytime. No, cats wait until you are lying in bed, almost asleep, and from somewhere in your home you hear... Remind me to put my slippers on in the morning. Oh, and you do want to put your slippers on, because you find that with your bare foot, you don't need coffee. You are awake and looking for a cat. Oh, and my poor wife, she has to clean it up every time. And it's not that I haven't tried. I truly have. It's just every time I get near it, I make the same noise as the cat makes. I still don't know how come my daughters only pull their dresses over the top of their heads when I introduce them to somebody important to me. Girls, can you say hello to Reverend Leonard? Hi! Hi! What do you think about those Beauty and the Beast panties, Rev? They're pretty cute, aren't they? Me, I'm wearing Lion King. Roar! I still don't know how my belly button's getting all that material off my shirt. You ever study your navel? It doesn't have fingers, it doesn't have hands, but at the end of the day, it's holding a cotton ball. I think it has little teeth and works like that Pac-Man. Wonka, 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 wonka. I am convinced if you wore the same shirt long enough, it would have a hole in it right there. I still don't know how much is the appropriate amount for a urine sample. Why won't they just put a line on that cup? Every time I go to the doctor, I'm in the bathroom for 20 or 30 minutes having an argument with myself. No, I bet that's too much. I take that out there, they're just going to start laughing. No, I'm pouring a little bit of that back. Uh-oh. Oh, I bet they need more than that. I better top that off. And you never feel confident about what you take them, because you either take them the cup that has 4 or 5 drops in the bottom, or the other one that looks like a cold frosty beer. Here you go, ladies, first round's on me. If you want another one, I'll be in my underwear sitting on the table with a paper on it. That's so much I don't know. Then there's a few things I do know that I didn't want to know. You ever listen to AM radio at night and they play those commercials for that Gold Bond medicated powder? You know what where the people write the testimonial letters. Dear Gold Bond, I had a rash on my rear end that was so severe I would scratch it with a screwdriver until it bled. Oh, I don't need to know that. Find me some music before I wreck this car. There's a ton of stuff we don't need to know. See, that's why they have terms like female problems. That's all you need to know. I'm like, female problems? La 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 la. You're talking to me about discharge, you better be talking about the military. And it better be honorable, too. A few things I do know. I do know I've been tremendously blessed in this lifetime. And one of the biggest ways, 15 years ago, I met this awesome girl and I had to work up the guts to go over and say hello to her. Now we've been married for 14 years. And 14 is not a big anniversary like 25 or 50, but you know, we've reached the point where you start thinking, you know, we might make it. Because really, for the first couple of years of marriage, you're just 2 or 3 beers away from screwing the whole thing up. Hey, listen, another thing I don't like about your mother. Come here, I'll tell you what I don't like about her. But I've thought a lot about marriage, and I'm telling you, out of most anything you ever do in your life, being married is one of the strangest in that nothing prepares you for it. You don't take classes on how to be married. You don't read books on how to be married. It's on-the-job training. And like any job that you learn as you go along, you are going to goof up. Now, hopefully you don't goof up too badly. And I'll give you an example of too badly. A while back, I was watching one of those shows. It was 2020 or Dateline, one of those things. And they did this thing, said, coming up, the story of a man that was married for 23 years to someone he thought was a woman, only to recently discover they were in fact another man. When we return, this gentleman talks about his mistake. I was sitting there going, mistake? We've all made mistakes. You forget to rewind the tape before you take it back to the video store. That is a mistake. But I'm sorry, you're married for 23 years to somebody you think's a woman and they end up being a man. You have skedaddled past mistake. You have slammed head on into faux pas. And wasn't like it was a week or two, it was 23 years. 23 years. Just seems to me there would have been a couple of clues along the way. Hey, Carol, you need to let the hem out of that skirt, your weenie's showing. That's a clue that all is not well in the kingdom. That'd be a clue right there. If you're using the same underpants drawer, that'd be a clue. So thankfully I have avoided the big mistakes. And I made a ton of little mistakes, but see, you learn from them. That's all you can do. Learn from your mistakes. Like I know back when we first got together, and my wife used to come up to me and she'd say, we need to talk. I used to make the mistake of talking. And every time I would talk, I'd get in more and more trouble. Now I've learned when she says, we need to talk, I do exactly the same thing I do when a police officer walks up to my car window. I look straight ahead, I give short yes and no answers until I find out what I'm being accused of. Well, there's no sense in pleading guilty to a crime they don't know about yet. Isn't that one of the worst when you're in trouble and you don't know why? And we've all done that. You follow your spouse or your partner around the house like, what'd I do? You know what you did. And you start running that mental Rolodex. And you can think of about 20 possible things it might be. But you're scared to pull one out because that might not be what you did. That happened to my buddy of mine not long ago. I called him on the phone. You know, you can tell when your friends are having an argument just by the way they answer the phone. He was like, hello. I was like, hey, man, what's going on? Ah, we're having a fight. Oh, really? What about? I don't know. She won't tell me. I've been locked up in the hall bathroom since Thursday. What's going on out there? Who's winning the game, man? What's happening? And I got some advice for any guy here tonight that's thinking about getting married. Do not be too attached to any furniture you might currently have. Because, buddy, it is going away. The week after we got married, my wife walked through the house talking to my furniture like a flight attendant at the end of a flight. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Thanks for coming, bye-bye. See you at the dump. See you at the dump? Honey, that's a combination coffee table cooler. Look, the lid comes up. That has been in my family for almost 2 years. But because she's created this beautiful home kind of as the man of the house, I always feel like it's my obligation to protect the place. You know? That's a silly thing with men, but we always got to protect our stuff. Even when it's not worth protecting. You ever see people have like a piece of crap Pinto with a club on the steering wheel? Somebody breaks the window, steals the club, leaves the Pinto in a pile of glass. But that's men, got to protect our stuff. And trust me, I'm not saying here women can't protect themselves. I know you can. Matter of fact, you'd probably a lot rather deal with me than my wife. Because you break into my house, I will shoot you. My wife will shoot you, then spend 30 minutes telling you why she shot you. I shot you for coming through the window after dark. You know, you ought to get a job like the rest of us. I was up at 6 o'clock this morning, had to make lunch for the kids, and had to take them to school, then go to work myself. Then on my lunch hour, had to get my driver's license renewed. Then after work, had to swing by the grocery store, then go to the mall and pick up a birthday present for my niece. Are you listening to me? If you bleed on my rug, I'm going to shoot you again. But I'll tell you this about my wife. She is secure enough in her masculinity that if there's a noise in our house in the middle of the night, she still lets me go check it out. See, in this age of sexual equality, that is one job that is still on the man's plate. Not too often you go see, Phyllis, run downstairs, see what that noise was. Hey, and bring me back a piece of chicken, okay? Have I told you lately you are as pretty as Greg Maddox, Phyllis? You really are. Now, if there's a noise in our house in the middle of the night, it is me checking it out. In my underwear, carrying a baseball bat, because that is the official uniform of suspicious noises, underpants and a baseball bat. I don't know what we're hoping to find, some guy in the living room in his underwear with a ball. Well, I have got to get out of here. I've used up all my time, but I want to thank y'all for coming out and thank you for allowing me to do this for a living. You know, when I was doing the sitcom, and then NBC invited us not to return for the fall schedule a couple years ago. You know, I kind of found when I was doing the sitcom, it was long days. It was like 15 to 16-hour days, and I never got to see my family enough, and I never ever got to do this. And next to my family, I love doing this about as much as anything in the world, and I have never ever forgotten. If it wasn't for y'all, I would have to get a job. And I don't want a job, so thank you for putting shoes on my youngins. And have a good time while you're here. Have safe travel home, wherever. Do what? Keep making fun of you. Honey, I'm not laughing at, I'm laughing with. There ain't a lot of research going on in my material. But have safe travel home, wherever home might be, and hopefully we'll see you down the road somewhere again. I guess it wouldn't be fair to get out of here without doing one or two ways how to tell how you might be a redneck. So, if you have a complete set of salad bowls and they all say Cool Whip on the side, you might be a redneck. If you take your dog for a walk and you both use the tree at the corner, you might be a redneck. If the biggest city you've ever been to is Walmart, you might be a redneck. If your panty lines can be seen from aerial photographs, you might be a redneck. If your working television sits on top of your non-working television. Got a little finger pointing with that one, all right. If the most common phrase heard in your house is somebody go jiggle the handle, you might be a redneck. If you've ever been accused of lying through your tooth, You might be a redneck. If you think a 401k is your mother-in-law's bra size, you might be a redneck. If your dog passes gas and you claim it, you might be a redneck. If you've ever used your ironing board as a buffet table, got that one in Louisiana, by the way. If your wife has ever said, come move this transmission so I can take a bath, you might be a redneck. If your neighbors think you're a detective because a cop always brings you home, you might be a redneck. If you thought a quarter horse was that ride in front of Kmart, you might be a redneck. If you missed high school graduation because you had jury duty, you might be a redneck. If you think fast food is hitting a deer at 65 miles an hour, you might be a redneck. If your honeymoon was featured on True Stories of the Highway Patrol, you might be a redneck. If somebody tells you you have something in your teeth and you take them out to see what it is, you might be a redneck. If you wear a dress that is strapless with a bra that isn't, you might be a redneck. If you've ever stared at a can of orange juice because it said concentrate, you might be a redneck. If you've ever had your nipple bitten off by a beaver, you might be a redneck. God bless you. Take care. We'll see you next time. Good night, y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeff Foxworthy.
This guy is funny beyond belief. You know him. He's got a Christmas album out, by the way, too. Here's Your Sign Christmas. You know him from Here's Your Sign. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Engvall.
Hey, Las Vegas! Well, how are you? Any better, I'd be twins. That's how good I am. I've been out there and playing a little gambling. You know, I love gambling. Been playing that new game, Damn It. You played that one? Oh, that's great. You put a quarter in. Damn it! Bar scene's different now, man. See, I'm from Texas. We got any Texans here tonight? Yeah. See, I'm used to Texas bar life. You know, a little drinking, dancing, fighting. It's a good night. So I go to this bar in L.A. I'm sitting there by myself watching a baseball game. Guy from L.A. sits down next to me and goes, hey, man, you like baseball? I said, I love baseball. He said, did you know that if Jesus had played ball, he'd been the greatest ball player ever? Like, I'm going to argue that point. So I sat there for a little bit and I said, did you know that if Babe Ruth had been the Messiah, the Catholics would have beer and hot dogs at communion? He left. So I'm going into this bar one night in L.A., man. They're dragging this fella out, man. They got him up by the arms, you know, and he's staggering a little bit, but he's awake, which, yeah, shows you my criteria. And I went to the bartender. I said, what's the deal with that guy, man? He said, well, here in California, he said, if you're drunk and awake, we got to call you a cab. I said, man, in Texas, you drunk and awake, they call you the designated driver. We got drive-through liquor stores, man. We don't even have to get out of the truck. It's just, boom, margarita, appreciate it, boom. I'm a parent. I have two lovely children. I got a teenage daughter, man, 13 years old. Anybody got a teenage daughter? Do you? Have you gotten this look yet? God, you just want to smack it off of them. Because this look says you are the dumbest thing on this planet. And I'm thinking, you'd better be looking at the dog. God, she's growing up, man. She bought her first bra. She's 13. I didn't know about it. I came home off the road. I'm helping my wife fold clothes. I picked up this little flimsy bra, and I'm like, hey. I know this ain't yours. And my wife was like all proud. She's like, no, she bought her first bra. I'm like, not at 13. Women should get boobs at 21. Just happy birthday. There they are. Because any of you dads with little girls, you know what I'm talking about. They buy that first bra, everything takes on a whole new meaning now. So like the other day, a guy said something so innocent to me, and I just freaked on this guy. He goes, Bill, you got a really pretty daughter. And I'm like, hey, what's that mean, pretty? What, are you staring at her? You some kind of sicko? And my wife's like, honey, the preacher was just saying. She's growing up, and I can't stop it. There's no pill I can give her. I can't unplug her. There's nothing, man. She came over from a ski trip this year, and we picked her up at the airport, and we're in the truck. It's me, my daughter, and my wife, and they start talking about her period. And I'm like, hey! You're not alone in this truck. And they won't shut up about it. My daughter's like, Mama, you didn't tell me that the altitude was, I became one of those Iraqi women. I'm going to run this truck into a bridge, I swear to God. Dads don't want to know this, man. It's like Martians. We know they exist. We just don't need to hear about them. So then I'm at my son's baseball practice. My cell phone rings. This is my wife. She goes, you need to stop at the drugstore on your way home and pick your daughter up some pads. Pads. Like writing pads? Oh, no. Oh, no, honey, please, God, I'll do it. I'll nail the toilet seat down. Please don't make me do this. She goes, I can't get away. Just make sure they're narrow. Ow! What is that? Narrow? Can't she use one of yours and fold it in half? So now I got to take my 8-year-old son with me, who every 5 minutes is going, what are we looking for, Daddy? I'm like, shut up! So I go to this drugstore. I go to this woman who I don't know. And I go, hi, do you have any little girl narrow pads? And she goes, are you her father? No, I'm just some sicko off the street with that kind of time on my hands. I go, yes, I'm her dad. And she goes, we're over on aisle 17. So I go to aisle 17. There's like 5,000 of these things. None of them say narrow. I'm on the phone with my wife going, honey, please let me come home. No, there's no narrow ones. This one has butterflies on it. This one plays a little tune. Who finds them? My 8-year-old son, who proceeds to scream out, here's the little girl, narrow pads, Daddy. Appreciate that, boy. Listen, I don't believe they heard you in Scotland. I bought 1,700. Just so I never have to do this again. She's getting her own taste in music, which I think is cool. I don't push music on my daughter, even though it's better. You know, I like my music. She's got her music. But, you know, so I'm on the road one day. I call home and talk to my little girl. And I said, hey, baby, I'm on the road. I'll pick you up something. We went to pick up. She goes, pick up some bare naked ladies. All righty. Appreciate if you wouldn't tell your mama. It's a group. I didn't know this. So I go to this record store, and there's this kid behind the counter. He's got a ring in his eyebrow, one in his nose, a bar in his lip, one in his tongue, and he can't figure out why I can't look him in the eye. I'm looking at him like a dog listening to a high-pitched sound, man. I'm just... And he goes, what are you looking at? And I go, what do you think I'm looking at? What'd you run into a nail gun? I may not always worn the hippest stuff in the world, but when did shrapnel become a fashion accessory? And ladies, I can understand the earring thing. I think that's great. But guys, what? Were you screwing around art class with a stapler one day? Oh, God! Oh! Oh, yeah. Oh! Oh, I'm happening now. And then I read in the paper where some guys are starting to landscape the private property. What thought process leads you to that decision? What in this world were you drinking that made you go in the bathroom, stand at the urinal, you look down, you know what looked good there? 10-penny nail. My son, he's great. He makes me laugh. The problem is my son makes me laugh at stuff I'm not supposed to laugh at, because I'm the dad. Like I took him to a Laker game this year, and it was great. It was me and my son at the Laker game, and we're having a great time. I'm holding the Cokes and the popcorn, and there was a timeout on the floor. And the Laker girls ran out and was jumping around. And my 8-year-old son goes, yeah, shake that little thing. I said, what? He goes, shake that little thing. I snotted Coke out of my nose. And it was a weird position to be in. Because on one hand, I was proud. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, God, don't never say that to your mama. Well, because she'll know where you got that. He had been playing baseball with his buddies, I guess. He slid and got a little strawberry or scrape there on his rear end. And he came in the house, he was whining about it. He goes, Dad, go scrape. And my wife said, well, go on in your room, take your pants off, and I'll come in there and rub some ointment on it. Well, I'm in there talking to him. My wife's rubbing ointment on his butt, and he farts. I'm laughing. And my wife goes, Travis. And he turns to his mom and goes, my compliments to the chef. We had a little problem there. I took my family camping, man, last year. What a great idea. I thought, I'm going to take my family camping. Because I remember camping, how much fun it was as a kid. You know why it was fun when you were a kid? Because you didn't have to set anything up. Now, as the dad, I'm the pack mule that brings it in and the jackass that packs it out of there. But I'm going to take my family camping because I remember as a little boy with my dad camping. And we'd sit around the campfire, and he would tell me those great old camping rhymes. Some of y'all remember them. Like red sky at night, sailor's delight. Wind from the south is rain in the mouth. If the birds are upside down, you're drunk and on the ground. That's what I remember. So I go to Walmart because we have no equipment. And I now know why they camp, because they have multiple use items now. Remember what we had as kids? We had that 7x15 tent. On the box it said, sleeps 8 comfortably. Yeah, if you're Sybil. So I go there, and I'm just fascinated. I saw they have an item now, it's a flashlight radio stove. That's brilliant, man. If you're lost, you can jam and make a bite to eat. I saw another one, multiple use item. It's a hamburger flipper, fly swatter. But the one item that caught my attention to the point that I purchased this product, because everybody's kind of ecologically minded now, they have developed a product called rapidly dissolving toilet paper. I was thinking exactly what you're thinking. Just how rapidly are we talking? I don't want to have to play beat the clock in the thicket, all right? If it's dark, I can't see what's going on down there. I got to know that toilet paper is going to be there to finish the job. I don't be sitting on a log in the woods somewhere and hear the Mission Impossible theme kick in. So we're going camping. The night before we're going camping, well, I'm watching TV with my kids. We're watching this guy, the crocodile hunter. Have you seen this guy? What planet did he beam down from? This guy gets like this close to a cobra and then goes, "This snake is gorgeous." Hey, moron, that snake's poisonous. And he's always jumping on the backs of crocodiles and putting his hands over their eyes. What's that? Okay, till the crocodile guesses who you are. It's like, this is how you sedate a crocodile. No, sir, a bullet is how you sedate a crocodile. So he's talking to this couple from Australia that found a snake in their toilet. Oh my God. A snake, just for a second. Think about how many times you've just sashayed into the bathroom. You don't look down because you know there's just going to be water there. They found a snake in their toilet. My friend goes, "Was it a poisonous snake?" Who cares? It's a snake in my toilet. He's not supposed to be there. And why is it always got to be like a snake or an alligator? Why can't it be useful like a crap-eating carp or something, you know? So that's nightmares for me. So we go camping, and we get to everything set up. We get to the, we have dinner, and it's dark, and I got to go to the bathroom. So I got my rapidly dissolving toilet paper. I'm headed up to the campground bathroom. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to a campground bathroom, but they are just disgusting. There's this bugs, 24 hours a day. They got like that 5-watt light bulb that doesn't light anything, just shadows moving around the floor. So when I got in the stall and I sat down, I didn't notice the hairline crack in the seat of the toilet. So when I sat down, the crack opened. And when I leaned back, it pinched me. I was like, "Ah! There's a snake in the toilet!" I came out of that stall like Franco Harris, man, just boom! I'm trying to run, but I got tackled immediately because my pants are around my ankles. So now I'm crawling on this disgusting floor like an 8-year-old girl. Oh my God, there's a snake in the toilet! Ah! I come up on these 3 pairs of shoes and I look up and these 3 guys go, "What the hell are you doing?" And I go, "There's a snake in the toilet!" And this guy goes, "I saw that on TV last night." So we don't go camping anymore. Well, some of y'all may know one of my pet peeves in life is I hate stupid people. They should have to wear signs that just say I'm stupid. That way you wouldn't rely on them, would you? I've had some new ones, man. For 3 days, we've been having a concrete porch put on the back of our house. For 3 days, there has been a concrete truck parked in my front yard. My neighbor comes over there and says, "Hey, Bill, you pouring concrete?" I said, "No, we're just making big old margaritas." Here's your sign. I'm on a direct flight from LA to Las Vegas. There's no stops. The guy sitting next to me goes, "You going to Las Vegas?" "No, Barstow. I'll be parachuting out about an hour." Here's your sign. This is the same guy who's sitting at the window seat. We're at 37,000 feet. We had some turbulence and the plane bumped a little bit. He opened the shade and looked out the window. What are you going to see? You're not going to hear the phrase, "Oh my God, we just hit a dog at 37,000 feet. I found out nobody's immune from "Here's your sign," not even me. I came out of the mall the other day. Guy parked right next to me, standing there with a coat hanger in his window. And I could not stop myself. I said, "You like your keys in your car?" He whooped around and said, "No, just washed it. Gonna hang it up to dry." Here's your sign. But the best one, I was on in LA. I got stuck behind a big rig that had wedged his trailer up underneath an overpass. And traffic's backing up, and I'm standing on the side of the road talking to the trucker, and the highway patrolman pulls up. And he looks at this guy's rig, and he looks at the trucker, and I'm thinking, he can't say it. He's a paid official. And he goes, you get your truck stuck? And God bless this trucker without missing a beat. He goes, no, I was delivering that overpass. I ran out of gas. Here's your sign. God bless you. Enjoy Martina. Bye-bye.